All right, another episode of the CTO Advisor Podcast. It is just me. I'm recording this the day that it publishes on December 18th, 2024. It's been a wild couple of months. I have attended so many shows, from Veeam to AWS reInvent and everything in between. IBM Think. The amount of data that I've consumed over the past few months has been overwhelming, is why I haven't consistently gotten a podcast out. I've just been traveling. So we're going to do a podcast recapping kind of what are the things that I think you should be considering based on my experience with vendor shows, CIOs, CTO, focus groups. What are the big themes going into 2025? The biggest thing, obviously, is AI, but not AI like it was coming out of 2023. In 2023, we're talking about how big should your cluster be to support inferencing in your generative AI solution on the enterprise. We've gotten a bit more clarity. I think AWS reInvent is a great proxy for where customers are at and where the industry has moved to. AI by itself is not an application. AI by itself is not a business solution. The thing driving AI is productivity gains right now. So this ability to reduce cost in creating and consuming content, this ability to do chat box and summarization, this ability basically to reduce costs around labor. Because this is a massive opportunity, it's trillions of dollars versus the $300 billion software industry. We're seeing a lot of attention from not just software providers and software and IT DMs, IT decision makers. We're seeing a lot of attention from the lines of business. They want to reduce their costs. They want to increase their productivity. They want to better their bottom line. And the IT vendors are responding in kind. At AWS reInvent, we saw AWS integrate AI into all the things, and all the things integrated into AI. We didn't hear much of any multi-cloud conversation, but that's not to say that multi-cloud should be de-emphasized in 2025. How was AI heavily represented in the AWS stack? And not just AWS, but other technology companies such as Veil Technologies. It is much closer to talking about putting the rubber to road or meat on the bone from what's the value of the AI solutions that our people are building. AWS, case in point, Bedrock, Amazon Q, indexing services. How do you build AI as part of your application strategy instead of just having an AI strategy? Was the theme. It is, I called it seamless integration. Nothing in IT is seamless, but there is a well thought out plan about how not just generative AI with Nova and whatever other services such as Anthropic, etc., is integrated in the AWS control plane, but how do you build applications that can make calls to these services seamlessly? Turning the attention down the stack to a Dale, who is now talking data lakes and this ability for storage to be more than just storage. We saw this with AWS and S3 tables, but AWS S3 tables was not the first one to the market with this idea. Vast data with Iceberg and Parquet file support. This ability to enable AI from a low-level infrastructure service all the way up to high-level services such as Amazon Q for Business and Bedrock. AI part of the process, not just a standalone application. We'll talk in the future about how companies are making this real and some of the real implications. I've integrated AI into my workflow, and I'm just a single person. As we start to distribute this within our organization, you'll see an acceleration of content. You'll see higher quality content. You'll see deeper insights with the same number or less people within our organization to do that. That is the driver for the biggest talking point of the year, AI. It has matured in 2024, even though for some people it doesn't feel that way. Multi-cloud. So let's talk about keeping the lights on. AWS rolled out their normal customers, including, to my surprise, Apple was on stage. But not just Apple, they rolled out Capital One, talking about how they're all in AWS and they're taking a cloud first approach to everything they do. But on the opposite end of the scale, you have someone like Geico. Geico has embraced an open source slant. I went to tech conference in Houston in which I engaged with some Geico representatives, and they talked about how they're replatforming every application within their environment to run either on open source or open source services. So they're deploying OpenStack. They're embracing Grafana for monitoring. They are rethinking all of their processes in the objective of being able to use modern abstractions in the service of being able to use AI in a highly regulated environment. They've made the strategic decision in order to take advantage of AI in a highly regulated environment, they have to rethink how they deliver IT. When you rethink how you deliver IT, there's an in-between. Geico, Capital One, multi-cloud. We're not going to be able to build all of the services that a Geico is building. We're not going to have a top-down policy in which we can tell the business, no, we have to build the application based on AWS services. Specifically, Capital One is taking a serverless first, a Lambda first approach. If not Lambda, then Fargate. If not Fargate, then EC2 at the end, and it allows them to build operations that are catered around AWS. We don't have that luxury. Some of us have contracts with Microsoft, Oracle. We're dealing with our VMware landscape on premises, and then AWS is still very much the gorilla in the room for most of our organizations. We've at Putrum Group started to do these CIO, CTO forums in which we bring in CIOs and CTOs from lines of businesses who can have one-on-one or one-to-many discussions with us and the vendor sponsor on their challenges. And multi-cloud continues to be a challenge. I put out a provocative blog post the other day in video saying that I don't believe in private cloud. I don't believe in private cloud in the sense that you can take AWS, put it on-prem. Azure, put it on-prem. I'm not talking about Outpost or Azure Stack. Yes, you can take those things and put it on-prem. We can't build what the cloud providers are building. We are not going to build a open AI chat GTP alternative. We can do cool stuff with Claude and and granted and get close and have some of the capability, but these companies are innovating at a pace that we can't keep up with. So our most innovative solutions are probably best built on these platforms. And when the enterprise solutions, the COT solutions catch up, we can move those things from our cloud providers who are cutting edge on-prem, which we're seeing this repatriation. But we have to deal with the resulting hybrid infrastructure and the hybrid operating model that we're in, where we have VMware, Hyper-V, OpenShift, KVM, bare metal, Kubernetes on premises that's interacting with services in the cloud, Lambda, cloud actions, or whatever the term for the serverless platforms the cloud providers have. We're dealing with the security implications of that. How do we make sure that the Lambda that's engaging with my Oracle DB or my SQL DB or Kubernetes on premises have the security context to be able to apply our security policies to these application flows? How are we positioning our data in an Equinix, QTS, Digital Realty, etc., to be able to take advantage of these cloud assets? How do we catalog and index all of this data so that we can make it available in some type of vector format so that we can leverage these AI services to get business insights? Last big theme of the year around AI is agentic AI. This idea that you're going to have an agent that acts on your behalf. How is this different from the AI that we saw in 2023, early 2024? Before, we're using AI to, again, accelerate the consumption of data, summarization of data, the sorting of data, the chat box of the world, basic data-driven actions. These agents can act on data. So the difference is I can get an agent that will book a flight based on my calendar, not suggest flight options, but actually book a flight based on the count data within my calendar. This is a huge opportunity for both enterprise software companies, cloud providers, and infrastructure providers. If we think about the nature of agents, they are basically representatives of our organization. If we have an agent act on our behalf, we're having an agent do the work of the company. That is very different than the file cabinet relationship that I have with my ERP provider. My ERP provider isn't doing work. My ERP provider's providing me data and insights so that my people can make decisions and do the work. What happens when the agent is embedded in my ERP system? So logistics has a request for additional material, and an agent goes out and procures that material without any human engagement or interaction. What happens when you want that process moved from your ERP system to another system, or you want to replicate that in another business unit? Do you then need to go out and deploy that ERP solution to get that agentic AI capability? What happens when you need these agents to talk to one another? Do you go to a Snowflake or a Salesforce or a ServiceNow and have them build this capability, and that capability is locked in? Or do you go to a Dell Technologies, Lenovo, Cisco, HPE, and build your agentic AI with open source tools, which again move a little bit slower from our ability to consume this capability, but now we own it. Now we can create this process that monitors our SAP, ERP environment for these requests. And then that AI solution that we control the model, we can control the logic, we control and place the platforms. It can do this work on our behalf. Huge debate and discussion that I've heard this year. What's the answer to that problem? I do not know. Speed to value, having your enterprise application providers and cloud providers provide you this capability, or having the ultimate control of business processes in-house, but you need to hire for the skill set. Not a easy question to answer. That's been my 2024 second half. We didn't get into the first half, but that's been my 2024 in review and looking at 2025 and the things that I'm keeping track of. Yes, AI of huge importance, but because it's of huge importance, it's elevating the need for solid cloud-based operations, a solid data governance program and strategy, and just fundamental primitives. That's it for me for the year. I am not going to do another podcast, but I will continue to create content through the end of the year. If you celebrate it, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy everything from the CTO Advisor and Future Group.